According to Adela Cortina's book, Ethics of Cordial Reason, becoming a citizen in our current world implies that we take action in building diverse and pluralist societies through something known as cordial reason. We all, as a student and teenagers, agree that there is one big problem in which we are all involved. Bullying, specifically at our school, Prepatex SM. School should be a safe place. However, for a lot of us, school has become the source of a type of violence exercised by our own fellow classmates. And most of the time, those victim children suffer of physical or psychological, emotional violence through repression, discrimination, homophobia, sexual violence, and things like that. We all have been at least one time the aggressors, the victims, or even the witnesses. Moreover, we believe that we as human beings, as society members, are in danger of learning to react with violence, get used to it, and to believing that it is a normal part of our lives being mistreated or bully or hurt people. Richard Dungan states, since the beginning of times, there has been a constant drive to outperform others and overcome obstacles. This survival instinct, along with a competitive atmosphere, has remained the same as the human race has evolved. Both of these forces have flowed over into the educational, social, and economic realms. This competitive hierarchy, though prevalent in most societies, varies across cultures.
Depending on their ethical systems, traditions, and type of control exerted by the government. The above mentioned, together with the fact that Mexico is a capitalist society which pushes the belief that success and wealth are the key for being cool, go hand to hand. Hence, this ideology has shaped a nation where bullying is unintentionally instilled as a survival tactic from a very young age. Basically, since children enter school, they are taught to always be the best in whatever they do. As a consequence, there are some students who may take advantage of students who are not as confident as them and will tend to become an habit. Likewise, this is not only affect the population because of the violence exercised, but also it affects democracy, human rights, and social justice. This is because democracy states that we all should be treated equally no matter what are our differences. Moreover, we all have the right to live a dignified life. So, when someone is being bullied, their human rights are being violated in a direct way, thereby affecting democracy and social justice.
When people thrive, so their community, their country, and even the whole world. So when someone is affected bullying, their whole society loses because that person involved loses the ability of exploiting all of the potential that it's inside of them. We also think that bullying is not something that should be stopped, but instead something that needs to be stopped. Furthermore, the problematic is clearly an example of all the type of violence, structural, direct, and cultural. Direct because it bullies directly attacks someone by using physical, verbal, or sexual violence. Structural is in the sense of having exclusion, discrimination, isolation, homophobia, but more importantly because of the impunity and injustice. Government agents are involved in all types of violence. In other words, structural violence is indirect, invisible, embedded in attitudes, institutions, and structures. We see it every day, even with our own friends, as a daily joke, which in bottom we know that get to us. And finally, cultural violence, because the underpinnings of violence are rooted in the ideology of legitimizing bullying, making it a normal thing, teaching our children that is something ordinary and okay. Furthermore, throughout time, it has been proved that bullying is due to someone being more little or vulnerable, different regarding social or racial condition, physically developing, clumsy with their body, someone who doesn't wear trendy clothes, has overweight, or is a super studious or shy person. As a campaign test, we decided to apply a survey through Google Forms where we asked several questions about bullying, and with this, we started our campaign on Facebook, getting followers and likes through the days.
In our opinion, our campaign did become viral because we gathered 273 followers on Instagram, which included not only students from Prepatec CCM, but also people from outside our immediate community. Moreover, our Facebook page also got 92 likes. What is more, most of our posts got at least 300 impressions or views. We as campaigners try to do our best with the follow-up, sharing the pages in our own profiles, talking about them and reacting to them. Since the day we started, we tried to post at least one post per day in at least one of the pages, and we tried to include the most important content about bullying. What is it? What are the types? How to identify people involved. We also shared the results of our survey and interviews made to the students after our bullying dynamic was applied. With the bullying dynamic, we referred to the fact that we went to several classrooms of the Prepatec CCM and asked the teachers for 5 minutes of their time. We turned off the lights and closed the curtains. Then we asked students to raise their hands while their eyes being closed. Afterwards, we asked them to raise one finger if they had ever been bullied someone, or witnessed someone being bullied. Finally, we asked them to open up their eyes in order to realize how huge this problem is. In all of the classrooms, most of the students had at least one finger up. After the dynamic, most of the students that we interviewed shared their feelings and how shocked and disappointed they were about the results. Afterwards, they shared what they will engage to do after having their eyes opened of Prepatec CCM's sad reality.
After this campaign, I learned a lot of things, but the fact that shocked me the most was that when we did the campaign at the classroom, I noticed that almost every person in the classroom had experienced bullying, one way or another. Bullying is one of the major problems throughout the whole world, and it has become part of our culture. We have to stop it, and for us to change that, we have to denounce, to speak.
During this research campaign, I learned about the serious consequences that people that has been bullied can have, and that there are also more proposals to end with it, but the only problem is that the schools and the government don't focus on this problem.
In conclusion, bullying is one of the main acts of violence that make many young people grow up in a complicated environment. External factors of the people that are involved provoke those actions. This shows that communication and attention is very important with the children or people who are in that situation. In our campaign, we know that it's a fairly common phenomenon among young people. Part of the problem is that many begin to normalize this type of behavior. Like all problems, this is not always solved with ideas, it will be solved by acting. Speaking, we can make the difference.
After participating in this campaign, I learned how difficult it can be to actually make a change if you don't actually do something about it. Also, I learned how big the problem of bullying is and how we are all involved in this. So, in conclusion, what I take from this experience is that ending bullying once and for all is actually possible, but it all begins with us. We actually need to start caring about it. We actually need to start taking actions about it. So yes, we made a social change, and there were students who engaged to actually change the way in which they act about this problem. But the question is, are they gonna live up to it, and are more students going to join the change?
This campaign, I think we are really doing a difference. We are making the knowledge of what is bullying about and the really big impact that has in our society and in our communities. I think that we can do a lot of things to really eradicate this problem.
Having finished this campaign, we can conclude that our hits were making the campaign on Instagram and Facebook, sharing it through our own profiles, reacting to our posts and promoting it. Also making a survey to the students was a great idea to actually see what we were facing to, and sharing the results so that the students could actually see the problem in which we were all involved. And finally, we believe that the information shared was super accurate, complete and of great interest. The misses were getting more likes on Facebook, starting the campaign before, maybe posting more things per day, and a very graphic design. And finally, the areas of opportunity to improve or actually make our work the campaign will be using a better dynamic on the classroom, or getting more promotion of the pages, sharing the page more, using Prepatex SMS stories, and getting to the principal schools to make the campaign institutional.